Welcome to another episode of Bird's Eye View by Falco Consulting. Today it's an absolute pleasure to welcome Charles Parsons, not only a friend but a CEO of Curzon Real Estate. I've known Charles over the last few years in my journey in Dubai. Previously coming from a history at JLL, I think our kind of mindsets matched on our approach to data-driven strategies and really understanding the numbers. Elevating it from just being more of an agency. So Charlie, so good to have you here today. Welcome.
My pleasure.
Let's start off with a bit more about Curzon and maybe a bit of an introduction as to what you guys do.
Yeah, absolutely. So at our core, we've got a real estate brokerage, which is data-driven, knowledge-driven. We've got a small team of absolute experts. These are people that have been doing this here for a number of years. They're not, sort of fresh real estate people. They're either from a commercial background, a proven track record here in Dubai.
I think that's super important when you talk about kind of data-driven strategies. I think probably now more than ever going into 2025. I think in the past, if you look at a lot of these capital gains have been inflated by COVID. I think now more than ever going into this year, understanding that everyone's an expert agent when the market does this. And I think when you talk more about data-driven strategies and having that kind of expertise, I think that's a key differentiator.
I think in this market, the market is evolving, it's maturing, right?
Absolutely.
When I moved out here, I really noticed that, coming from a commercial background, coming from this background of, everything is data driven and you're putting together these proposals, often very lengthy, a lot of research going into that. Coming out here and seeing that it's just the complete opposite, or at least was in the past.
So surprising.
It was shocking, and seeing some of the quality of the advice that was given.
Yeah.
That's something that we're really trying to change.
And I think that talks really well into at Falco we consider kind of I think two fundamental aspects that need to exist in every transaction. And I think you've kind of touched on it there is the one is that financial expertise, the financial understanding, talking to your clients and understanding their particular investment strategy. And the second is the market knowledge, the expert knowledge. Because I think as you would know now, and as an ex-broker joining myself, I found I think it's no hidden surprise that people favor agents with a sales background, not necessarily financial expertise or investment expertise. But it sounds like you guys have been able to kind of couple both those skill sets together.
Absolutely. And I think, sometimes it's a case of bringing multiple people to the party. We'll quite often team up when we're going to client meetings and meeting investors, and bring someone who, they've got different backgrounds. And that's exactly what we're building in this team, is people with very diverse backgrounds. Some, as you say, with more of a financial analysis background, some with more of a sales brokerage, true sales background. So I think as this market evolves, it's what it needs. It needs that balance of salespeople, and for some sort of asset classes and sectors here, that really works. When you look at off plan versus secondary, when you look at different areas, I think some of these different styles work differently. I think if you really look at the villa communities, specifically where you've got a lot of families moving there, they need that kind of hand holding, that relationship that you build up to help them with their move, which quite often is a move from another country to here. It's a massive change. So I think having that relationship that you build up, that rapport that you build, as opposed to just a true let's get this deal done, which works for a lot of investors. It's knowing who you're dealing with. It's knowing the area that you're dealing with.
Absolutely.
And being an expert in that field.
100%. And I think it goes, even further to it's like you say, understanding those investment needs. Because if you're an end user, you're likely going to be focused on, what are the amenities in the area? How close are you to hospitals, to schools, to your workplace, in terms of accessibility to work. Whereas if you're dealing with an investor, it's understanding the numbers and being able to paint a realistic picture as to how they can achieve those kind of investment goals that they're looking at.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Now, tell us a bit more about what else you guys offer. When I first met you, a big focus of the business was on the renovations. And I think for investors, that's a hugely exciting area to play in because it allows for quite short-term capital gains. If you can identify and target the right property that needs a bit of work and look for that capital upside in a short space of time, I think it's fantastic. Now, tell me holistically now, what is the offering at Curzon?
Yeah, so as I said, the core, we have the real estate brokerage. On top of that, we have a really sort of key business line of ours right now, and I think it will sort of continue to grow very well over the coming months, is Elevate by Curzon. So Elevate is our sort of renovation offering, where we're actually able to co-fund the renovations. So
Wow.
we'll actually come in and we'll fund someone's renovation
Wow.
and take them through that process. So
Wow.
I'll paint a picture and give you an example. So imagine a penthouse in the marina that's currently worth 15 million dirhams. It's a bit tired, a bit dated, but it's got huge potential. We'll go in and we'll do an assessment of what we think needs to be done to elevate that and to bring it to market at a you know at a higher rate. So what we're able to do there is we come in, we have our partners that we work with, trusted, vetted construction partners that we know have a track record of performing,
Absolutely.
and we'll then pay for the renovation and then sort of monitor the whole process from beginning to end.
That's
When
insane.
that exits, obviously there's then a profit split. There has to be something in it for us.
Of course.
But for the owners, it means their properties are selling. They're more likely to sell when they're renovated. We're seeing sort of between 30 and 35% more likely to sell at the expected exit that they're looking for. And obviously we're increasing the property value, and more likely than not, they're exiting with a higher exit anyway. So
I think that's a huge, quite a unique model that you guys offer in terms of the financing availability to help kind of co-fund and finance those renovations. I think equally it speaks volume to your confidence and the ability to be able to see that upside. Putting that capital up front, just speaks volume to kind of the confidence you have in the business's ability to be able to see that upside in 9 to 12 months.
Yeah, and I think really we'll only do it where we truly believe in the property and the potential of the property, and I think obviously where we're putting our skin in the game, it really shows to the owners that we're committed to that project.
And how important is kind of market knowledge, I guess, and kind of identifying
Oh,
that target property, I guess, because a lot of people out there, will offer renovations, will offer these, maybe not in terms of the financing model that you guys do, but, even the renovations, there's a lot of competitors out there.
Absolutely.
How important is finding the right property?
Oh, it's everything. I mean, we have a team of experts who are continuously monitoring the market and finding the opportunities. Obviously, we have to be selective in the opportunities that we get involved with. And what's unique with us as well is that our team that are analyzing this are real estate agents. So they understand how to analyze the market. They understand what is a good opportunity. They know what the upgraded properties in those areas transact at. So they can ensure that anything that we're getting into, they fully believe in. Again, it's data driven. It's based on all the analysis that we're doing. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's so core to what we
do. I think with the changes in Dubai at the moment, I mean, this is a really kind of relevant key topic of discussion at the moment. We've seen in Arabian business, we've seen in Gulf news that there's an active change where people are looking at a rating system in Dubai. Now that rating system kind of covers, there's still more information to be shared, but what we anticipate that rating system will cover, is the development as a whole, the community, the location, the maintenance of that building, but then also specifically the units. And I think the product that you guys are offering in terms of Elevate has a big role to play in making sure, I mean, if you relate back to an Uber rating, starting your Uber rating at 2-star and trying to rectify that reputation is very difficult. And I think at this pivotal time of change, there's going to be a massive divide in the market between those that fall on this side or on that side of the line. I think Elevate will have a huge part in kind of being able to help people shift to the right side of the line. Do you agree? And how would you guys how do you see that transitioning?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think, we're seeing more and more demand for, these families that are moving here, individuals that are moving here. We're obviously seeing a massive influx of that. And, there is a huge demand for properties that are ready to go and ready to move into. I've recently been looking myself and finding good quality, buildings, homes that you can take on. You're happy to pay a premium if something is renovated to a good standard. You have good amenities. It's in a good location. All of these things that this rating system is likely to sort of be based upon. And for me, I put above everything else the quality of the actual apartment or villa itself. So I do think as landlords are looking at how they can stand out in a very competitive market where you've got more and more supply coming to the market and newer and newer developments coming up, I think renovation will be the only option to command the rental prices that people are expecting. Especially if we look at some areas like JVC, for example, the marina as well. I'll take JVC as an example. If you just look at JVC on a map and you look at how many plots are still available, that obviously tells you how many developments are going to be coming up. You see obviously the active developments at the same time too. So anything that's slightly older, any of the buildings that already exist there, they're going to have to stay competitive. They're going to have to renovate to compete with these new developments that are coming to market. So,
Absolutely.
and it's the same in the marina. It's a different narrative there, where you have just fewer developments coming up. You have more dated stock, and so to again stand out, you have to elevate the quality of your property.
100%. So I think definitely that will help with kind of the new regulatory changes and the shift in what's happening in the market here. But equally, as you say, it's naturally going to push ROI, and it's also going to attract a high quality tenants into those properties. That's fantastic. Now, if we move on to a more exciting development that I know is very new, I know we'll only share this later. But a new development that I know you guys are very excited to announce is, before we dive into that development, talk about the focus of Dubai and what's happened here over the last 20 years has been crazy. It shifted from an investor kind of focused speculative market back in the day, where all it took was a brochure. There weren't such things as escrow accounts, and people were taking a bit of a gamble on a high risk, high return investment. That has very much changed here, where now we see much more of an end users market. People are seeing this as a kind of utopian society where they can bring their families, they can raise kids here, they can see it more of a long-term place where they actually live. And I think that in itself has created a lot of stability and investor confidence across the whole Middle East.
I agree.
Now, I know you guys are looking at some new exciting projects. While everyone's focused on Dubai, I don't feel we're limited to Dubai. I think there are other opportunities and exciting areas out there. Do you want to kind of touch on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we're constantly looking at where we can explore new opportunities, both from the core business, the brokerage, and the renovation side, but beyond that, at a much larger scale, our own developments too. So our investors and our partners in the company, we have a track record and a background in development, large scale developments, hospitality and residential projects across the UK and across Europe. So that's really our bread and butter. Now we've been looking at where's next. Dubai has seen this amazing growth trajectory over the last, as you say, sort of 15, 20 years, and a real evolution of the market. And I think, obviously you can't ignore Saudi. Saudi has obviously the last few years has really been taking off some of the projects that have been announced and are ongoing there. When you look at NEOM, it's fascinating, and it's clearly attracting a lot of attention. I think as some of these markets evolve and continue to grow, I think we need to look at Bahrain, we need to look at Qatar, Kuwait, these markets as well.
Absolutely.
I think they were benefiting from the growth that we're seeing in Dubai and Saudi, and as you say, the increased confidence in the Middle East. There were people that just simply wouldn't explore investment in the Middle East before, but they've seen how the region as a whole is evolving and how how it is changing as an investment market.
Absolutely. So Bahrain, let's speak specifically about Bahrain and kind of what does that mean in terms of who would be attracted to that type of a market? Is it people within Europe and the wider UK that want to reside there as a permanent living situation? Is it people that have now flocked to Dubai looking for maybe a quieter or a new area of development? And what is the accessibility like in terms of from Dubai, in terms of being able to live and go out there?
Yeah, so Bahrain is, honestly, I love it. It's got everything that Dubai has in terms of the the infrastructure, you're living by the water, but it's more natural, it's greener. Honestly, the first time I landed in Bahrain, I fell in love. It's a stunning city. And
how quick is that flight from Dubai?
It's very, very close. It's about 45 minutes on the plane from Dubai.
Wow.
I believe it's around 6 hours from the UK. So it's a little bit closer than getting to Dubai and Abu Dhabi. So yeah,
what's been happening in Bahrain at the moment in terms of developments there, and it's we're saying we iron out these new areas. What have others done in the market in terms of hospitality players, and what is the evolution of Bahrain been to date?
So I think Bahrain is it's somewhere where you're not the first to move, but you're there's already been some really good momentum in the region. We've seen Four Seasons have the hotel's been there for a number of years now. The residences is just being handed over at present. I was there actually last week and checked out the residences.
Amazing.
It's a lovely project, amazing location. So we're already seeing big names. Four Seasons is there. Water Astoria was recently announced again in Bahrain Bay, so in one of those prominent key locations. You know, we've been in conversations with a number of top operators who are very interested in exploring Bahrain.
And what do they say around kind of the occupancy rates and what kind of return people will get and invest in Bahrain? Because for someone like myself who hasn't been out there, I think it's quite and I'm sure for a lot of our investors listening today, it's a new region in their mind. They maybe don't have the information to hand as to understand what the investment opportunity is like there. Maybe you could touch on a bit more around what are the occupancy rates we're seeing out there. What kind of investment is it for people looking to invest on?
Yeah, so in terms of hotel occupancy rates, we're modeling based on around 60 to 65%.
Wow.
Which is, for a more up and coming, area, I'd say that's quite impressive, really.
And it's only going to improve over time.
And that's only improving. So
yeah,
if we look at the Four Seasons residences has sold out.
Wow.
The Kahiji Ratana, which is just around the corner from one of the areas we're looking at, again, completely full. And that's 400 units of high-end residential, completely full.
Wow.
So,
and for Westerners and kind of, a lot of our audience come from more of a Western background, whether that's from the UK and Europe or, even those back in southern parts of Africa.
Yeah.
From a cultural shift point of view, for those that don't know what it's like in Bahrain and aren't aware of kind of, what the culture is like there, how would you compare that to Dubai and the rest of the world?
So I'd say from a cultural perspective, if I'm comparing within the region first, I'd say it has a similar feel to when I go to Abu Dhabi. It's a little bit quieter than Dubai. It's a little bit more laid back, and it's got a lovely feel to it. As I say, a lot more natural. There's good nightlife. It ticks a lot of boxes. Sporting wise, you've got golf courses. There's rugby. There's a really nice feel when you go to some of these clubs as well.
You're feeling quite comfortable going.
Yeah,
you don't feel like you're having a huge cultural shock as well.
No, exactly. I think it's got a very nice feel to it. A lot more laid back, very friendly people. Everyone we've dealt with over there has been just delightful. So yeah, it's got a really nice feel to it, and you've got stunning natural beauty as well. You go to the beaches and the sea is just this crystal clear, beautiful, stunning water. It's definitely it's got kind of everything I like about Dubai and Abu Dhabi, but
I think it's definitely a hot topic of discussion in terms of could this be the next Dubai? Getting in early to areas like this that really, you might take on a tad bit more risk in that investment, but for a huge potential upside that this could be the next expansion of what we're seeing outside of Dubai in this region.
I couldn't agree more. A lot of people I speak to, whether they're based here, based in the UK, people that I used to work with at JLL, people from all over. Everyone I speak to about Bahrain is excited about it as an opportunity, and they see it as one of these massive growth areas. It's 30 minutes by car from Saudi.
Wow.
Maybe 40 minutes depending on the traffic.
Yeah.
But as really Saudi continues to grow, I think Bahrain will be following.
It's going to support that
and supporting that growth. It's
fantastic. Well, listen, Charles, I don't want to take any more of your time. I know you got a lot on your plate today. So from Falco, we just want to thank you so much for coming in today and sharing your kind of insights on the market. I think it's hugely exciting what you guys are doing at Curzon, what you do in terms of the Elevate side of things, and obviously some exciting new ventures to talk about in the future regarding Bahrain. So Charles, thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Thank you. Cool.